Now that SpaceX has discontinued portability, will I lose it? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of focus, and that is it. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a tech day. We're going to be following up on Friday's video when I spoke about Starlink actually losing the RV plan and moving into Rome, and then also they were discontinuing portability. Now what? There's a lot of people that use portability, that portability add-on, to be able to move around, maybe RV, or maybe they move from home to home to home, or maybe they work in different locations, so portability was a big thing. According to SpaceX, it is no longer available. So what happens now? I'm glad you asked. We're going to get into that today, but before we do, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. They're 100% free. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Also, if you enjoyed this content, even in the least, please consider throwing it a thumbs up. That would be awesome. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're already not, and then click this little button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. Also, if you just want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there's a little thank you button down there. Hit that, or if not, just consider becoming a member. That would be even better. This channel is all about tech, photo, video, and of course, Starlink. If you're here just for Starlink information, I have a Starlink playlist. I'll stick a link right here. There's about 120 to 130 videos, all helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy. Go check that out after you're done watching this video. So let's get right into it. Now, in the last video on Friday, I spoke about a guy named Russell, and he wrote into the show, and he was saying how he uses his residential Starlink as he works and travels around the U.S. And he wrote into Starlink and asked them, how can he do this if they discontinue that add-on package, which is called portability? Now, if you didn't know it, in the past, if you had just regular residential service that cost you $110, if you got the add-on package called portability, it costs an extra $25. So a total of $135, you're able to take your dish now and move it anywhere you want on this continent, in the U.S. If you got portability in a different country, let's say, you can move around that country. Now, you cannot take it out of the country, and I'll get into that in just a second. So that's what he was doing. He was taking his dish, and then he would move it to different locations. But what's nice about portability is when you're at your address that that dish is known to be at normally, you get priority access, not deprioritized data speeds or deprioritized access. So when he would move it and go around, let's say, the U.S., he would have deprioritized access, which is okay. That was good enough for him. And then as soon as he brought that dish back home, he would have priority access once again. Well, Starlink basically discontinued this add-on package altogether. The bottom line is, now what? So he wrote into Starlink, and this is what they said. They said, note, portability is not available for residential service in the U.S. Now, he has it, but they're saying it's no longer available. They continue by saying, you may change your service address or change your service plan to RV through your Starlink account. Now, they're saying RV, they actually renamed that to Rome. Same exact thing. Now, Russell writes back and says, listen, so if I want to use my dish for working while camping, as I plan to in June, then I would have to give up my prioritized access from home. Given that I work from home, I cannot give that up. So my dish is now a permanent fixture on my roof, and I need to check into a hotspot for work while camping. Now, doing a little research last week, I found that yes, you can change your subscription. But the problem is this is what they say on their page. They say by logging into your Starlink account, you're able to switch from Starlink Residential to Starlink Roam. We get it. Please note, now this is what's very important here. Please note that we cannot offer customers the ability to change from roam back to residential at this time. You are welcome to explore our portability offerings if you would like to switch between a designated service address and travel use. Note, Portability is not available for residential service in the U.S. Once again, this is a reiteration of what they said in that message. Now, during our live feed, we did a live broadcast for about 2 hours. It was actually my wife and myself, and there was a lot of questions that came in about this. Now, my thought was this. If SpaceX was smart, what they would do is grandfather in anyone that already has SpaceX Starlink's portability add-on, that $25 add-on, grandfather that in, and just no longer offer it going forward. We didn't know what was going to happen, but as of today, now it's Monday, we know. This is the official word, let's say, from SpaceX Starlink. Now, John writes in, and this is one of the messages that I got. I actually got multiple. I'm going to highlight a couple. But he writes in, and he wrote into Starlink about this, and this is what they ended up saying. Now, John writes in and said, "Hey, Joseph, the letter I got about pricing did not mention portability. After watching a couple of YouTube videos saying that it was going away, I contacted Starlink support and was told portability is no longer available. I reopened the ticket and let them know that I was unhappy having to learn about this issue through YouTube and not from Starlink." Starlink replies with this. "Hello, John, and thanks for reaching out." That's so nice of them. "We apologize for the delay in getting back to you. Thank you for providing this valuable feedback. We will be sharing this information with our internal teams, and we sincerely regret the miscommunication. Starlink will not interrupt your current portability service. Will not interrupt." Interesting. "However, if you disable portability service, there will not be an option to re-enable it. Thank you and have a nice day." John writes and says, "As you can see, there is a lot of miscommunication out there." Well, John, I agree. There's a lot of miscommunication out there, but I think that there is a lack thereof communication in general when it comes to SpaceX Starlink. A lot of times things happen and we just find out about it, and I'm reporting about it before they even say anything. And that is an issue. I think they need to put that out there right away. Now, this is really very valuable information. I thank you, John, for sending this to us. Robert also wrote in with a message that came directly from Starlink. It says, "Hello, Robert. Thank you for reaching out. Starlink will not interrupt your current portability service. However, if you disable portability service, there will not be an option to re-enable it. We no longer offer the service to people who do not have it already. Thank you." So you see how a lot of that is just cut and paste, and then their team of responders, let's call them, their service department, they'll just simply add on a couple of little sentences here and there. But the main meat and potatoes here is, quote, "Starlink will not interrupt your current portability service. However, if you disable portability service, there will not be an option to re-enable it." Basically, what this means is that what I said on Friday actually has come to pass. Wow. Can you believe it? What that means is now SpaceX Starlink is grandfathering people in to that add-on, the portability add-on. So if you have the portability add-on as of right now, do not touch your account. Do not add anything. Do not subtract anything. Do not change from residential to Roam. Do not change from residential to Globe. Do not do anything. All right? Because chances are, if you do, that package, that add-on package called portability, which a lot of you guys need, just like John and Robert and all the rest of you, will no longer be available to you. All right? That is your PSA for today. All right? Your public service announcement from me. Do not touch your account if you currently have portability. It will be a bad thing. You will have a bad day. Because as Starlink says, there's going to be no way to re-enable it. Because there's no way to buy it anymore. You cannot put it into your shopping cart. It no longer exists. They discontinued it. Now, hopefully they bring it back. Now, what I've found out with SpaceX is that if there's enough squeaking that happens in the gears, right, they will oil it. But if there's not enough squeaking, they're just going to let it keep churning on and on. Now, that's the same thing that happened with the data cap. That data cap was supposed to be initiated back in like November or December of last year. Then they moved it to January and then February, and then now they say like April. Well, it's not a steadfast or a hard, solid thing as of yet. Once again, if there's enough blowback, if there's enough squeaking, all right, they will walk this back. And just like the data cap didn't get enabled as of yet, it might never. It just depends on how people treat it. The same thing with pricing. If people bitch and moan enough, the pricing won't go up. Trust me, that's how it works. The price of any product is only the maximum that anyone is willing to spend on it. Keep that in mind. We are in control over pricing, but we don't understand that. If we don't buy something or if we get rid of something, the manufacturers feel that and know it and they lower their price. If people just keep on status quo, sending that money in or not bitching and moaning or not complaining, they are not going to change it. Think about it. People have been complaining about the service fees constantly going up with SpaceX Starlink, right? So what did they do? They said, listen, we're going to increase the fee, but only to the people that are in saturated areas. If you're in a non-saturated area, an area where you don't have a waiting list, you can actually purchase SpaceX Starlink today. They went down on the price. So they went to $120 if your area is saturated, and they went down to $90. Now, that was all semantics. It looked good, but when I did the research, I found that over 70%, closer to 80% of the people out there were getting a price increase, while 6%, or let's say less than 10, were getting that decrease. So it just looks good, but once again, it has to do with that blowback. We need to constantly let the companies know that we're not happy with something so that they address it appropriately. Once again, the final PSA is if you currently have SpaceX Starlink's portability on your package, do not change anything or you will permanently lose it, not being able to get it back. Period, because they have discontinued it. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, throw the video a thumbs up. That'd be very helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and all of those things. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.